Anti-Israel demonstrators gathered to draw attention to the plight of
Anti-Israel demonstrators, anti-Jew demonstrators. Wherever you see that flag, there's going to be trouble.
Palestinians.
From the river to the sea, that's terrorism talk. They're chanting murder, they're chanting terrorism. From the river to the sea. That's the annihilation of the Jews from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
And demand an end to the state's new anti-protest laws.
That we reject these anti-protest laws and these attempts to take away
State's new anti-protest laws.
That we reject these anti-protest laws and these attempts to take away our democratic...
As far as I'm concerned, this bloke, Josh Lees, he needs to be locked up because he'll get up there. He got up there and chanted from the river to the sea. That's inciting terrorism. Why aren't these people? Because they support it. The government supports the terrorism, viewers.
Rights in this
Come
state.
on!
The rights that we all have, or did have, to protest about any cause.
We see the complete overstep of the Minsk government as being something too far that needs to stop now, and we're really concerned that he's not stopped and he's going to keep going. I think these protest laws have a chilling effect on the community and the ability for them to come together.
There was a major police presence.
The community to come together. We've just had 15 people shot on Bondi Beach, and they're back in less than a month saying from the river to the sea. With 300 or something police, whatever the numbers are, hundreds of police officers standing around allowing it. Wake up, Australia. This government's corrupt.
We'll get to that in a moment, but first, today the Prime Minister was blaming everybody else but himself for the anti-Semitism crisis. Have a listen.
All governments should have done better. That is my point. Did the Morrison government appoint a special envoy to combat anti-Semitism? No. Did they establish a joint operation bringing together the AFP and ASIO to combat acts of anti-Semitism? No.
Well, I mean, the Morrison government didn't, the Abbott government didn't, the Howard government didn't, the Gillard or Rudd government didn't, because they didn't need to, Jared. That's the problem for the Prime Minister. He can't avoid that.
You're exactly right, Peter. And the fact is the Prime Minister has overseen the serious breakdown in social cohesion that has occurred in our country, particularly in the last couple of years. Now, a big driver of that has been mass migration. But a big driver of that, of course, has been the fact that we've been unable to name and call out and investigate Islamic terrorism. Now, we know that ASIO has had funding stripped from it. We know that they were given directives not to fully investigate some of these cases, particularly with regards to the Free Palestine movement. And so, quite frankly, the Prime Minister has blood on his hands. This huge explosion in anti-Semitic protesting has occurred on his watch. It has occurred as his government has chosen to recognise the state of Palestine when they had no functioning government themselves. It is his government that has constantly dog-whistled towards the radical Islamists to shore up votes in those Western Sydney seats. And so, quite frankly, to pass the buck on to Scott Morrison 4 or 5 years into your premiership is just, well, it's deeply immoral. It's unresponsible. It's irresponsible. And I think it's a Prime Minister who's flailing as he's increasingly losing the confidence of the electorate.
Tony, give me a take on the gun laws. You're in a very significant size region. Look, now to that weak man in the lodge. Yesterday it was bad enough for Anthony Albanese to blame his predecessor for the recent explosion in Jew hatred, but for him today to deny that's what he said yesterday on the record on camera, well, that's simply shameless. I mean, what planet is he living on? Here he was yesterday in Question Time trying to deflect from his own failures to tackle anti-Semitism on his watch.
Did the Morrison government appoint a special envoy to combat anti-Semitism? No.
You heard that. Now listen to him today denying that he was trying to blame Scott Morrison.
Can Mr Morrison really be blamed for a wave of anti-Semitism that you presided over?
I didn't mention him at all. What I did was I quoted the ministers in his government at the time.
And he can't lie straight in bed. He cannot lie straight in bed. The idea that anti-Semitism somehow spiked under the former coalition government, when in fact it has quadrupled after the October 7 atrocity on his watch, is delusional. Scott Morrison was well within his rights to take his successor to task, which he did. He hit back on social media. But this is just the latest example of one of our Prime Minister's chief character failings. Nothing is ever Albo's fault. Nothing is ever his fault. And his bizarre tendency to deny reality. like his stubborn refusal to hold a royal commission into the Bondi massacre that he then said he had intended to do all the way along.
Where royal commissions are not as good is to consider things that are not agreed, where people have differences. The full suite of issues that have been asked to be examined would delay by a number of years, any outcome. We are following the advice that we receive from authorities who are, in 2025, dealing with this atrocity. We want to make sure as well that we do deal with this. That is what the Richardson Review will do. Today I announced that I will be recommending that a Royal Commission on Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion be established.
No, until it's yes. And what about his insistence that it's always other people who are playing politics, when in fact that's all this Prime Minister has ever done? And that was exemplified by his attempt to try and wrap the whole response to Bondi, everything, hate speech and the gun reform, into one bit of legislation. Last night, the government's second Bondi bill passed through the Senate. The real test will be now whether any of these new laws make a difference. How many hate preachers will be expelled? How many visas will be cancelled? How many marches will be stopped? How many people will be arrested for rampant anti-Semitism? The old laws didn't make any difference. Will these make a difference? Because this is a government that's against Jew hatred in theory, but almost never in practice.
Doesn't seem to be scaring anybody. Here we go.
A PhD student has been arrested over allegedly planning a terror attack on Australia Day on the Gold Coast. Live to Georgia Costi now. Georgia, he has fronted court.
Tegan, he has, but this is just so deeply troubling. This man is a robotic scientist, an accomplished academic, and now an accused terrorist as well. So 24-year-old Saper Sariazdi has been arrested by police, and officers allege that he was actually going to make Molotov cocktails and then throw them at some Australia Day event here on the Gold Coast. Officers allege that he'd already purchased wrapping paper and alcohol to make these firebombs, and that he was in a group chat with other people and he was urging them to do the same. Now, yesterday at court in Brisbane, he actually applied for bail. However, that request was denied. The magistrate ruled it was an unacceptable risk to give him bail. Now, at this stage, all of our planned Australia Day events here on the Gold Coast are still going ahead, including a big family fun day at Hodder. Right now, council is working with police to allocate extra resources. And Tegan, one event in particular, which they are going to be closely monitoring, is the March for Australia rally. That's set to be held here where we are this morning at Macintosh Island Park. This is an event normally held in Brisbane with a huge turnout, so they are expecting big crowds and working on a plan to manage that and anything that may arise with it.
Yeah.
Police have released an image of a man that they're searching for in the wake of a triple fatal shooting in Lake Kajelico. A massive manhunt for the gunman is still underway.
Police are urging residents in the central west town to stay indoors or avoid the area while the search operation continues.
See, it's not going to stop. Look, they've just taken opportunity. The government's taken opportunity to silence the public so that they get less criticism towards them. That's all the hate speech is about. The gun laws are about disarming people so they can't protect themselves. But here's another episode where 3 people are being shot, dead. Well, what's the reason for that? There's got to be a reason.
Reporter Jess Scully has more from Wagga Wagga. Jess, good morning. So what do we know so far?
Good morning, Emma. So what we know so far, about 4:30 yesterday afternoon, police in the Lake Kajelico area responded to reports of a shooting. They arrived on scene at Bakara Street in Lake Kajelico, where they found a 25-year-old woman and a 32-year-old man suffering from gunshot wounds in a vehicle. Both the man and woman were treated at the scene, but died from their injuries. Police also responded in Walker Street, Lake Kajelico, yesterday afternoon, where they found a 50-year-old woman and a 19-year-old man, both suffering from gunshot wounds also. The 50-year-old woman died at the scene, while the 19-year-old man is in hospital in a critical but stable condition. Police are looking for a 37-year-old man by the name of Julian Ingram, also known as Pierpoint. He was last seen travelling in a white Ford utility vehicle with council markings and high visibility markings, as well as a light bar on the roof. Its number plate is DM07GZ. Police have also yesterday afternoon sent out a geo-located text to people in the Lake Cargelligo area, urging residents to please stay indoors and keep themselves safe. And if you need to travel to Lake Cargelligo today, they are please asking the public to avoid the area. And 20 to 4:30, any period of time around that. If you do have dashcam footage or phone footage, or if you're in the area and recording anything, to please let Crime Stoppers know, or your local police, to help them with their continuing inquiries.
This is how ridiculous the protest laws are. Watch this.
Protests in Sydney. Hundreds of police officers deployed to the town hall in the CBD last night as pro-Palestinian demonstrators tested the state's new anti-protest laws. Various groups say the new measures, introduced after Australia's worst ever terror attack, are draconian.
Escorted away for breaching the peace.
This guy's got the answer, right? You've got people in the protest screaming out from the river to the sea. We're back where we started. All this guy's saying, look, just shut up and blame Hamas, and he gets taken away by the police. It's over for Australia, viewers.
I'm entitled to stand here with my side.
Police officers zoned in on a man holding a Blame Hamas sign as he insisted the terror group is to blame for starting the war in Gaza.
Yeah, and you've got people standing in the park, hundreds of police officers screaming out from the river to the sea, which is terrorism language. It's a terrorism chant. Oh, Australia's gone, viewers. It's gone.
Would you like to say anything about your arrest?
Well, I'm not breaking any law.
Another man claiming to be preaching Christianity was also escorted away.
So they're against Christianity. They're against the truth. They're actually supporting the anti-Israel, anti-Jew protest, because they're allowing people to chant from the river to the sea. The Christians can't even stand there with their mouth shut or holding a piece of cardboard. Thinking they were wise, they became fools. But once you wake up to the foolishness of this government, or the governments, and that's not criticism, your eyes just become wide open to how corrupt the whole thing is.
Anti-Israel demonstrators gathered to draw attention to the plight of
Anti-Israel demonstrators, anti-Jew demonstrators. Wherever you see that flag, there's going to be trouble.
Palestinians.
From the river to the sea, that's terrorism talk. They're chanting murder, they're chanting terrorism. From the river to the sea. That's the annihilation of the Jews from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
And demand an end to the state's new anti-protest laws.
That we reject these anti-protest laws and these attempts to take away
State's new anti-protest laws.
That we reject these anti-protest laws and these attempts to take away our democratic...
As far as I'm concerned, this bloke, Josh Lees, he needs to be locked up because he'll get up there. He got up there and chanted from the river to the sea. That's inciting terrorism. Why aren't these people? Because they support it. The government supports the terrorism, viewers.
Rights in this
Come
state.
on!
The rights that we all have, or did have, to protest about any cause.
We see the complete overstep of the Minns government as being something too far that needs to stop now, and we're really concerned that he's not stopped and he's going to keep going. I think these protest laws have a chilling effect on the community and the ability for them to come together.
There was a major police presence.
The community to come together. We've just had 15 people shot on Bondi Beach, and they're back in less than a month, saying from the river to the sea. With 300 or something police, whatever the numbers are, hundreds of police officers standing around allowing it. Wake up, Australia. This government's corrupt.
At Town Hall, as attendees called on the Prime Minister to rescind an invitation for Israeli President Isaac Herzog to visit Australia. The Police Commissioner will need to make another decision before the ban expires next Tuesday. The declaration can be extended in 14-day increments for up to 3 months following a terror attack. Recently banned by the United Kingdom, attendees denied the slogan encourages violence.
Look, globalise intifada. Tammy, look. I'm just trying to do this quick, but Global Intifada is a political slogan that means a call to extend an intifada beyond a single place, usually Israel, to the whole world. Beyond usually Israel, Palestine, but to the whole world. But see, this is where ChatGTP, you've got to be very careful of it. It's actually the whole world. Everywhere there's Jews, kill the Jews, right? Intifada means uprising or shaking off the Jews. In modern politics, it's commonly used to mean a mass rebellion or uprising. It's terrorism, often involving protests, civil unrest, and sometimes violence. No, the goal of it's violence. Global Intifada therefore implies a worldwide uprising, mobilization in solidarity with the cause to wipe out the Jews, sometimes framed as protests, pressure campaigns, which all build up to murder and terrorism, and sometimes used by people who mean or tolerate violent action. That's what it all leads to. The exact intent depends on who's saying it in the oh, come on! ChatGTP, what a load of crap. Since 2007, the year 2000, the Intifada has a total of 4,300 deaths. 4,300 deaths. Now, we saw a guy get hauled off. Let's find him. Here, this guy. This guy gets hauled off for a little sign that says blame Hamas. And then on the other hand, you've got this. Come on, how can that be legal? It can't be legal. It's wrong.
United Kingdom attendees.
There it is. Globalise the Intifada. Murder the Jews globally. Wherever you see a Jew, wipe them out. Come on. How can they lumber off a guy with a blame Hamas sign and allow these people to clearly and definitely, right, encourage, be complicit to, advertise global terrorism. Global terrorism. I'm not making this up. Come on.
Denied the slogan encourages violence.
We actually haven't been chanting globalise the Intifada for the past 2 years, so that's a kind of furphy.
Oh, what a load of crap! What a load of crap!
Not that I think there's anything wrong with the word Intifada, it just means struggle.
Oh my God. The delusion. Just means struggle. 4,300 people have been murdered because of it.
With that word, from the river to the sea, is just a call for freedom.
He's a liar. He's an absolute liar, that bloke. He's a liar. Josh Lees needs to be locked up.
When someone says from the river to the sea, let Palestine be free, the sea is from that window over there to the Mediterranean Sea, and the river is just about 50 minutes ride from here. So it means erasing all of Israel. When someone says from the river to the sea, let Palestine be free, the sea is from that window over there to the Mediterranean Sea, and the river is just about 50 minutes ride from here. So it means erasing all of Israel.
When I see a banner that says from the river to the sea, I know exactly what that means and what that is calling for. It's calling for the extermination of every Jew in Israel and the complete elimination of the Jewish state. I know what that means. I can't imagine anyone supporting that, let alone marching through European capitals, through American cities, and in American universities to support that. We've all vowed never again.
How did I get away with it?
Call for it, an open call for it, and it not being condemned throughout our culture and throughout every news organization is absolutely astounding to me.
river to the sea.
Explain that.
The river, it runs on the eastern border of Israel. Israel is to the west of that river. All the way at the end of Israel to the west is the sea. So when they say from the river to the sea, they mean no Israel, no Jews. That's what that means. And how many of us, God help us, if our children are learning this, and God help us chanting that.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Why this slogan became so proactive in Western countries. Many European countries banned this slogan, citing it as synonymous to anti-Semitism and a call for the destruction of the state of Israel and Jews. It's a misconception, because
not a fucking misconception at all. And this is the whole argument. This is the whole argument. Oh dear.
We actually haven't been chanting globalise the Intifada for the
He's
past
a liar. This guy needs to be locked up. I'll say it over and over again. Josh Lees.
years, so that's a kind of furphy. Not that I think there's anything wrong with the word Intifada, it just means struggle.
Only 4,300 people have been murdered, terrorised and killed.
With that word, from the river to the sea, is just a call for freedom.
The Minsk government restricted protests after 15 people were murdered at a Jewish event in Bondi. The declaration does not stop demonstrations, but restricts
just a mini intifada on Bondi Beach.
People from submitting Form 1 applications that could otherwise protect them from being charged for offences such as obstructing roads and footpaths. The Commissioner will need to decide early next week whether to extend the measure for a further 14 days, potentially determining laws in place for Australia Day.
After everything that's happened, they're just letting these people run riot still. There it is. There it is. The guy gets locked up for blame Hamas, while these people are running wild with globalise the Intifada. Do not trust the government and do not trust the information that you're getting on these people. They're still provoking terrorism. There will be another terrorism attack in Australia, be it Sydney or wherever. Well, look at Sydney. We're back where we've started. They've completely disrespected the massacre, and it's going to go round in another cycle. I'm out. I am totally out, viewers.